What's up and welcome y'all, it's Brandy here with another reaction video. Today we will be reacting to True New Friend Horror Story Animated. I forgot this person's YouTube name. I believe Wansi or something like that. Excuse me if I pronounced the name wrong. But this is a story from his YouTube channel, his or her YouTube channel. Get right into this.
This happened to me when I was 14 years old, and honestly, they call me Joseph. This happened to me when I was 14 years old, and honestly, I have to say what happened was the most traumatic experience in my entire life. I was out in the park playing ball with my friends, who we'll call Nikita, Ivan, and Vlad. Vlad had to go study, so he left, and the sun was setting a few hours later, so Nikita left along with everyone else who was in the park. Ivan and I decided to stay late, and we continued playing ball for a few hours until it was around 11 o'clock. It was pitch black, so we decided to wrap it up and go home, as our parents would be worried sick. We were leaving the empty park in the dead of night when a boy who was about 16 stopped us. He was wearing a black trench coat, black boots, and a black balaclava. He introduced himself as Draven, and he asked if we wanted to play. It was really late, and I felt a bit uncomfortable interacting with him due to what he was wearing, and also due to the fact that it was a bit odd that some kid would come out this late at night. I was about to respectfully decline and just walk past him, when Ivan, who was a bit of an irresponsible, immature idiot who didn't sense danger, stopped me, and told me that this guy seemed cool, and that it wouldn't harm if we stayed another hour and played with him. After listening to Ivan talk for another 15 minutes, I reluctantly agreed to play with him until midnight. We started playing ball, and Draven was an awesome striker in football. We also struck up a conversation and learned that Draven went to a school nearby, loved playing football and video games, as well as sneaking out at night, and that he wore his weird clothing so he wouldn't get caught. He seemed interesting, and he seemed very polite and friendly as well. I started to like Draven, and Ivan seemed to adore him. Eventually, when Ivan and I were about to leave as it struck midnight, Draven offered us some candy. Ivan grabbed it out of his hand and savored it. I was a bit cautious at first, not knowing what might be in it, but I remembered that Draven was a normal kid who was very polite, so I grabbed the candy and ate it. The candy tasted a bit off, but as I sucked on it longer and longer, I realized it tasted awesome, but I wanted some more, and so did Ivan. Draven said he had hundreds of those candies at his house, and that he also had pizza, chips, cake, donuts, chocolates, and energy drinks at his house, and that if we came to his house, we could have more. As Ivan and I were addicted to that candy, we agreed, and Draven told us to follow him. He led us through the park, into the dark forest, and we walked through that dark forest for over an hour before we reached a rundown, shabby, broken abandoned house with a black van that was parked right in front of the house. I was craving the candy, so Ivan and I rushed to the door. However, for some reason, I looked at the window next to the door and I saw 4 men there. One of the men was a bald, 25-year-old wearing a green t-shirt who was around 6 foot 6 inches and 320 pounds, and was extremely muscular. Another one was a man around 20 years old with long, brown, messy hair who was around 6 foot 7 inches and was 280 pounds, and he was wearing a biker's outfit. The third man was a blonde-haired man of 32 who was wearing glasses and was about 5 foot 8 and 155 pounds. He also seemed to be wearing a jumpsuit and a cap. The fourth man was a man of 51 who stood at 6 foot 2 inches and he was wearing a tuxedo. I noticed that the first man was holding an axe, the second man was holding a butcher's knife, the third man was holding a pistol and handcuffs, while the fourth man was holding a rifle. I got really scared, so I tried to signal to Ivan, but he was really immature and he was craving the candy, so he didn't notice. However, I think Draven did notice and he grinned, while the 4 men looking out the window grinned. Without thinking, I ran past Draven and I ran through the forest at full speed. And after what felt like forever, I left the forest and I was at the empty park. I whizzed through the park and whizzed through the dead of night until I reached my house. I started to feel guilty for leaving the vulnerable Ivan in the clutches of those freaks and started to worry about him, but I realized that I couldn't do anything and that in this situation, I could have only saved myself. When I arrived at my house, I pounded at my door and after what felt like forever, my dad opened the door. I fell into his arms and I hugged him tightly. My mom, my brother, my 2 sisters, and my dog and my cat came behind him. I started crying out of fear, and also due to me worrying about Ivan. My parents sent my dog and my siblings away and made me some tea, soup, and biscuits. I apologized and explained what happened to my parents and how I was about to enter a house, but I escaped when I saw that those people in the house were armed. My parents were very understanding, so they comforted me and sent me to bed. The next day, my parents called Ivan's parents, who said Ivan didn't come home, and they called the police. So my dad, my mom, my dog, my cat, my brother and sisters, Nikita and Vlad's parents, Ivan's parents, some other friends, and the park ranger, along with several police officers, went through the park and forest and arrived at the house. I felt safe to be with all those people. The police searched the house and found nothing apart from rats, mice, spiders, squirrels, and insects. And they said that this house was vacant and the owner died over 100 years ago. They said they would launch an investigation and try to find Ivan. We were then leaving when my dog stopped and started smelling a piece of cloth outside of the house. We all stopped, and the police saw that my dog was smelling that cloth, and they said it might be a clue. We all went home while the police took my dog away for a bit. A week later, they returned my dog and said that the dog led them several miles away to another base. The police searched that base and found blood on the floors and then found over 20 dead bodies. They found out that when I escaped, that Ivan was lured inside the house, where he was beaten up before being dragged to a van and whisked away to a base where he was maimed, tortured, and brutally murdered. Afterwards, his body was then used as storage to hide drugs. I felt sick when I found out, and I started crying my eyes out. I suffered from mental health issues, and I had to go to therapy. Eventually, I paid tribute to Ivan, and I apologized for not saving him.
That's crazy. Like, I didn't expect the part of them, like, using dead bodies to hide drugs. Like, I didn't expect that part. I expected the boy to die. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a jerk because I'm like, I would have left him. Like, you clearly don't sense danger. Like, come on now, snap together. You don't sense danger. I'm like, I would have left him, and I was like, dang. And then it's a true story. Like, the boy, but how ignorant do you have to be to follow somebody in the middle of the night over some candy? Baby, that candy ain't that good. It was something in that candy that had them just looping over it, like, oh my God, I need this candy, fiending for it. Like, most likely probably some drugs in there or something. You know, most likely. But ain't no way, I don't care. Baby, once, then I'm not walking through nobody's woods at all. Sorry, baby, I'm not that curious. I'm not walking through nobody's woods. But after, if it so happened if I was to walk through the woods with somebody, after 15 minutes, baby, we lost. We gotta go. You talking about you walked over an hour? No, not me. You won't catch it. Sorry. But it is said to Ivan, to the person who is Ivan, it's very unfortunate that him and those other people had died and was beaten and everything. But that's just so sad. People are really sick in the world. Like, it's some real sick people out here. And the fact that this story is true, it just makes it no better. Like, people are really sick. But this is, I'm not gonna lie, this is a very good channel with animated horror stories. It's very easy to follow, and I'm scary. So this eases it more, being animated and stuff like that. It ease my scariness a little bit more. So I definitely enjoyed this. The original link to the video will be down in my description box. Make sure y'all go like and show some love and support to that video. I enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye.